Welcome to Dark Truths, Religion Uncovered, where we explore how ancient concepts of mercy compare to modern boundaries, and we question which people belief feels are no longer deserving of forgiveness. Tonight, we confront a truth that modern faith often overlooks because it's uncomfortable. Forgiveness was never intended to be selective. In ancient teachings, forgiveness wasn't just a warm feeling. It was radical, disruptive, and sometimes dangerous. It crossed moral lines, ethnic divisions, and personal wounds. For example, Joseph forgives his brothers who sold him into slavery. David spares Saul, who wanted to kill him. And Jesus prays for forgiveness for those who executed him. Forgiveness was not about approving someone's actions. It was about freeing oneself from the pain. It didn't deny that wrongs were done. It meant not letting those wrongs define who you are. Today, many people view forgiveness as optional, conditional, or something that is good for mental health. We forgive when it feels safe, when someone apologizes, or when the hurt doesn't seem too bad. It becomes more about setting boundaries than loving our enemies. While this approach feels sensible, ancient teachings would say it's insufficient. Scripture tells us that forgiveness is not based on whether someone deserves it but on obedience. The command is clear: forgive as you have been forgiven. This requirement doesn't have conditions. It simply asks us to forgive because we have received mercy first. Modern beliefs often resist this idea because forgiveness can take away our sense of control. It means giving up the moral high ground and the right to seek revenge, which can be frightening. Ancient believers understood that forgiveness was costly. It mirrored God's mercy, which took on injustice instead of returning it. Today, many fear that this kind of forgiveness is a sign of weakness. But Scripture presents it as strength, showing that forgiveness can break cycles of violence. When forgiveness fades, faith becomes fragile. Hurt feelings become rigid. Enemies remain, and our identities get stuck in our wounds. Ancient theology warned that holding on to grudges can trap the one who refuses to forgive. Mercy isn't just for the one who hurt us, it's also about freeing ourselves from pain. Modern belief often confuses forgiveness with reconciliation, but these are different. Forgiveness is a command. Reconciliation depends on the other person changing their behavior. You forgive to free yourself from hatred, while reconciliation is about rebuilding trust once the truth is acknowledged. Today, many people avoid forgiveness because they see reconciliation as risky. But ancient teachings didn't require safety for forgiveness. They required obedience. Forgiveness trusts in God's justice rather than seeking revenge. Modern thought often prefers justice through exclusion, but that doesn't heal wounds. Forgiveness confronts wrongdoing without becoming part of it. That's why Jesus emphasized forgiveness. Forgive us, as we forgive. Mercy is reciprocal, showing we align with God's character. When believers fail to forgive, they miss the chance to reflect that character. Tonight's message is powerful. A faith that only forgives those who seem deserving has forgotten the mercy that initially saved it. Forgiveness that costs nothing changes nothing. Ancient believers forgave because they believed that God's justice was greater than their pain. In contrast, modern beliefs often withhold forgiveness because it feels safer to hold on to our wounds. However, unhealed wounds can define us, and a sense of identity based on grievances cannot reflect grace. So let's end with an important question that ancient teachings would pose to modern faith. If forgiveness required you to let go of the one thing that feels right to you, would you still obey? Thank you for joining us on Dark Truths, Religion Uncovered. Share your thoughts below. Has forgiveness become conditional? Or does faith still challenge us to forgive even when it hurts the most? Make sure to subscribe to the channel.